We're back with big plans for another exciting test season. And just like last year, our first test on the 2025 calendar is an EV-focused test. So we have our trusty Teslas. We have a big group of new and exciting products, and we're gonna find out how they impact energy consumption. We're gonna see how they perform in the daily drive in terms of ride quality and noise comfort. We're gonna test their braking traction and handling in wet and dry conditions. And then of course, later in the year, we'll see how they perform on the ice and in the snow as well.
Yeah, and just like last year, we have a wide variety of performance categories in this test with varying levels of EV focus. Some of the tires in the test are built from the ground up as EV tires. Some simply have EV somewhere in their name. Some just have a sidewall treatment that says EV focused or EV ready. And if you have no promises of EV whatsoever.
To find out if the EV-focused tires deliver on their promise compared to their non-EV counterparts, we have 11 tires in this test, and of those 11, 3 are performance summer tires. The Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02 is a leading max performance summer tire with no EV-focused pretenses. The Kumo Extra Sport is new for 2025 and EV branded, and the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 3 is an original equipment fitment for our Teslas, with noise-canceling foam molded to the inner liner. 4 tires in the group are ultra-high performance all season, with the ultra-popular Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus serving as the category benchmark. The Falcon Azenis FK460AS features the brand's Silent Core noise-canceling foam technology, but is otherwise unchanged for EV use. The Kumo Extra Sport AS is brand new, and like its ultra-high performance summer counterpart, it's EV branded. Pirelli's P0 AS Plus 3 is another untested entry. It's Elect branded and features Pirelli's noise-canceling system insulating foam. Grand Touring All Season is represented by 3 entries, with yet another Kumo tire, the newly developed Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV, which utilizes a low rolling resistance compound and K-Silent noise-canceling technology. By our viewers' popular demand, the ubiquitous Michelin Cross Climate 2 is the lone all-weather tire in the test, and the E-Primacy All Season, which is Michelin's brand new, efficiency-focused all-season tire with acoustic technology, rounds out the category. EVs aren't warm weather only vehicles, so we're also including a dedicated winter tire. From the studless ice and snow category comes the Michelin X-Ice Snow. By adding the winter tire, we'll show drivers the benefits of maximizing traction year-round with season-specific tires, and also reveal what trade-offs exist when utilizing this method on an EV. So we have tons of possible comparisons here. We're going to help you pick the right tire from multiple options within the same brand. Or you can compare across performance categories. We'll compare all-weather with all-season, EV-focused versus non-EV focused. We'll even show you what you can expect if you choose to run a dedicated winter tire in the cold months and an all-season or a summer product when it's warm.
And from our past testing, we found one metric the EV tires perform very well in is consumption and energy efficiency. But that's not always a guarantee of future performance. So let's start there, get out and see how they do. When talking about tires for EVs, low rolling resistance is almost always a part of the conversation. The tires installed on an electric vehicle will have an impact on its consumption, that is the watt-hours per mile it uses, and the ultimate effect it has on how much range a driver can expect on a single charge. Because of that, it's often high on consumers' priority list when shopping for tires for their EV. And while there seems to be some misconceptions out there on how much impact tires can have on consumption, we have found some meaningful differences. To compare the tires in our test, we put each tire through the same 100-mile loop, and we report the vehicle indicated watt-hours per mile and also calculate what the hypothetical range could be at full charge. Looking at the results of our consumption testing, we can see the E-Primacy All Season fulfilled its promise as the most efficient tire in the test, followed closely by the Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV and the X-Ice Snow. From there, the OE Hankook and the P0 AS Plus 3 were mid-pack, with the larger group of performance tires consuming slightly more energy. We saw a 32-mile difference in theoretical range at 100% charge across this group. It's important to note our testing is performed with brand new full tread depth tires, and generally these numbers will improve as the tires wear. The Michelin X-Ice Snow. On consistent surfaces, it kind of has just that low-pitched growl, that kind of consistently toned growl.
One thing that we don't like about the noise is over
tar strips, individual impacts, cat's eyes. There's a cavity noise, a resonance that it kind of works its way up through the whole cabin, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of tones to the impacts.
What do you think about the ride on this tire?
It's taut, but it's mostly cushioned over most bumps, both large and small. It's got a little bit of kind of secondary jiggle at the top of each bump.
What do you think about the steering?
It feels more natural, I think, than some of the higher performance tires.
It's not quite so immediate and urgent, right? Yeah.
Which
it makes sense,
Yeah,
you know. I mean, it is a studless ice and snow winter tire, and we're comparing it to performance tires.
But it steers nicely for a studless ice and snow tire. I really like it.
Kumho Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV. This is the parentheses K-Silent version because this tire is available either with noise canceling foam or without noise canceling foam. Some, kind of lower tones, nothing that was super high pitched, over the coarsest of coarse surfaces on our route. There is a little tiny bit of impact ring. Occasionally you may notice it, and I think it's primarily because the rest of the experience is so quiet that little bit of ring kind of stands out, but it's not even a significant amount of impact noise. So really good job on noise for this tire. And I would have to say that ride is the same. It's a very nice blend of composure and comfort.
Yeah, I think I referred to it as the right mix of composure and feel.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mix. Ah, yes.
It really is. The steering is nice. It's appropriate. It's natural feeling. It's sporty. We can feel the response of the tire. We may not get that feeling through the wheel, but we can evaluate the response of each tire, which is what we're looking for.
And in that regard, Kumho Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV does a good job.
The Michelin Cross Climate too. They do a really good job of keeping this tire mostly consistent in noise, but it's coming out there. We hear it. We hear it on the rougher surfaces as well.
I agree. And one of the places that it stood out for me was we have a small stretch of our route that has chip and seal on it, which for those of you that aren't from the Midwest, that's where they just throw down a bunch of gravel, put some oil on it, and then let cars pack it down, and now you've got a new road surface. And for most tires, they create just this continuous kind of coarse, rough interaction with the surface. On the Cross Climate 2, you could hear that, but you could also hear the growl of the tire from that tread pattern interacting with that coarseness.
It tends to be a little firm. It has been on this platform in the past. We know that it's taut. It is well controlled.
And then what about the steering?
The steering through the corner, it's tight, it's controlled. There's maybe a slight delay in its response. For a touring tire, it's pretty good.
Right. You know what? I couldn't have said it better myself, in fact. It is tight, controlled, and maybe just slightly delayed. That's funny. Michelin E-Primacy All Season. All right, so full disclosure, E-Primacy All Season, we're actually kind of excited about.
Very.
It is a ground up from the very beginning developed as an efficiency focused tire. It has Michelin acoustic technology, which is the noise canceling foam. It's got a cool tread pattern. It's got a good looking sidewall. So let's start out with noise. It is quiet on all surfaces. There is one stretch in particular. It is aggressively cross-cut concrete. Every tire we've ever driven creates some kind of resonance over that surface. Except this one.
We both exclaimed, "Oh, wow, this is quiet. This is really just soaking that up somehow."
Then what about the super duper smooth stuff?
The E-Primacy All Season was the quietest we've ever tested on the brand new asphalt surface. It's you're on a magic carpet. It's fantastic.
Yes, it is. Speaking of magic carpet, usually you would finish that with ride, not noise. So let's talk about ride.
It's still a magic carpet.
Right?
It's very comfortable too.
Over the biggest bumps on our route, you hear them through the chassis more than you feel them through the tire.
The disturbance is more auditory than physical. This is more bark than bite.
I love it that you worked that in. Steering is good, appropriate for a touring tire. It feels, and I hate to say this, it feels very Michelin-y in that, their touring tires tend to feel like a sport touring tire. So it does respond nicely, it responds quickly, but it is on the more responsive end of the touring tires.
the Continental Extreme Contact DWS-06 Plus.
The first thing that I noticed immediately was more variety and higher pitched tones over the concrete surface that starts our route.
Yeah.
But it does
This
also...
is the difference between categories.
Yes,
here.
that's exactly it. Yeah, we're illustrating, touring versus performance. And guess what? Touring is more comfortable and performance is more, say it, performance-y. That's right. Exactly a word.
It's a little more firm, especially over the bigger bumps.
Yep. It reveals the smaller stuff a little bit more. It tells you what's happening down at the road surface more.
Compared to a touring tire.
Yes. So the flip side, the trade-off for the slightly more noise and slightly tauter ride is steering.
Yeah.
It is very quick to respond. It is very direct. It's probably one of the fastest responding tires that we've driven so far, and it just really points the front end exactly where you want it to be, which is for an enthusiastic driver, that's definitely a bonus. The Falken Azenis FK460 AS. This tire features Falken's Silent Core technology.
What's that?
That is when they adhere a layer of noise-absorbing foam to the inner liner of the tire.
Well, that sounds beneficial.
That does. And we find that it's actually quite nice on the road, right?
It is. It sounds quiet, especially on the smoother surfaces. It does a decent job on the coarser surfaces.
From the ride standpoint, it felt a little less performance tire-y, to be honest, in that it was a touch softer. It is a touch soft. It quivers just a little bit over big impacts. We both feel some residual motion. But you know where it doesn't give up anything for being kind of gentle? Steering.
Yeah.
It is quick to respond.
It's precise, it's eager. Yeah.
It's a nice performance-y, touring-y, kind of straddles the line option for an EV, or really any vehicle for that matter.
So we haven't tallied it up, but this is doing very well on the road, especially for an ultra high performance all-season tire.
Absolutely. Kumo ExoSport AS. Kumo isn't giving it the full EV treatment. They're not saying in the name that it's an EV tire, but it does have the little lightning bolt on the sidewall, and it says EV next to it. So it's EV ready. It's
I can
EV
do it,
capable,
coach. Put me in.
Right? Let's talk about what we're feeling.
Big impacts are big.
Yes, mind-blowing, right? Yeah, and small impacts, you feel them. They're not a big deal, but they're there. They're present. It feels like a performance tire. What do you think about noise, Brad?
Very good. Again, especially on the very smooth surfaces.
I will say the steering is good. Yep. It's not quite as performance focused as some of the competition. It doesn't feel as tight and precise and responsive as some of the other performance tires.
Like dodging that top hole. It's just like...
It did it.
It did.
But where's the but? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you would have preferred to do it in a different tire.
You're right. We're on the P0 AS Plus 3, and this is an Elect branded tire on the sidewall, but Pirelli doesn't break them out of the bigger lineup, so they just call this a P0 AS Plus 3. It's quiet over coarse surfaces. It does a really nice job with that. Ride quality is, let's call it touring sport, because it does feel like a performance tire, but it cushions a little bit better than you expect a UHPL season tire to do. What about steering? You're the one doing that part.
Steering is great. It's smooth, it's natural. Response is what I would expect. It's not digital, it's not overly sharp, it doesn't feel synthetic.
I agree. And intuitive and natural are two of the biggest words that I used when I was driving. It's good.
Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02.
This tire was developed kind of before the EV craze hit, so EVs probably weren't even part of the consideration when this tire was developed.
Certainly not. It doesn't feel harsh. It just feels like the road is communicating with you.
Right.
You know what's going on down there.
You feel it in your seat and in your hands.
Right. But it's not too bad over the bigger bumps. It's firm. It's a firm summer tire. But it's pretty darn good, especially for a max performance summer tire.
You're right. Noise, there was some variety. It has kind of bigger tread blocks on it, so they interact. Yep. I noticed a little bit of a very slight kind of a grinding sound over some surfaces, but all that being said, for a Max Performance summer tire, it's actually quite refined. So tell us about the steering, Brent.
It's sharp. There's very little lag right off center when the response kicks in. It ramps up nice and quickly. It feels sporty without feeling twitchy, which is kind of a dangerous line to walk, but the Extreme Contact Sport 02 does it very well.
Right, absolutely. This is the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 3. T0 in parentheses because this is an original equipment Tesla tire.
And we're in a Tesla.
Absolutely.
So should be good.
Should be. Tesla equips this vehicle with a performance summer tire as original equipment. So any of you who are going to say that it's irrelevant for us to test summer tires on this platform,
Get out of here.
bada bing, bada boom. Okay, let's talk about ride first. Okay, it's a performance tire.
It is.
It is firm. It is a little stiff. It crashes
Right.
a little bit over the big impacts. It's kind of like the vehicle gets to the bump stops too soon. The other side of that is also we have several just kind of big undulations on our route, and it kind of pitched the car a little bit more than the other two performance summer tires do.
It wasn't suspension. Other tires didn't do it.
Okay, in terms of noise, it's a solid performer for noise. I feel like maybe I heard a little bit of kind of like far off noise. It was good on regular course stuff, the things that
The everyday
we
surface.
imagine is an everyday surface, yes. The extra course surfaces on our route got a little droney, a little bit of resonance. Again, nothing terrible, but you know, when we are testing other tires in the same category, you know, side by side.
It's reminding you this is a summer tire.
Right, right. And you like the steering, I like the steering. Let's end on a high note. What do you think about the steering?
The steering is summer tire steering.
It is.
It's smooth, it's responsive, it's precise.
It is.
There's not a lot not to like about it.
It does not respond quite as immediately as what the Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02 does. And because of that, I didn't give it quite as high a score. I gave it a half point down from that tire. But you're absolutely right. It feels like a performance summer tire.
Yeah, but it is almost like it was made for the car.
Huh, weird. So this is the Kuma Extra Sport, which you may see referred to as the PS72.
It's firm. It's a summer tire. It's a performance tire. You're going to feel it. You can't change the laws of physics, but it copes with them well.
It does. In terms of noise, it's kind of in a similar boat. It didn't have anything that really stood out as like offensive or worth noting.
Like here on the crosscut, that's fine.
Sure, right? But it wasn't as quiet as a touring tire or even the better UHPL season tires. The one place where it fell a little bit behind, or it falls a little bit behind, is in steering. Right. It's quick to respond.
It is.
But it lacks the accuracy. It feels like it's kind of quick just for the sake of being quick.
Right. And if you didn't drive it maybe back to back with some of the other performance summer tires, you may not notice, but we did and we do. It's just missing some of that poise.
It's like it got 99% of the way there, or 95% or whatever.
Yeah, it's still good. It's still good. But it's a difference. It's a differentiator.
When we talk about wet testing with a group that contains winter, summer, and all-season tires, the first thing we should discuss is temperature. We had to spread our testing over 2 days to make sure we tested the season-specific tires in appropriate conditions. The wet braking and skid pad testing for the XI Snow took place in mid to high 30-degree weather, which is good for a winter tire, but way too cold for the compounds typically used in summer tires to do their best work. So we tested the summer tires when it was in the mid-60s. Unfortunately, between the somewhat low ambient temperatures, the cool water, and the lack of sun load due to heavy cloud cover, the summer tires still didn't seem to be in a great temperature range, especially when it came to braking traction. The Extreme Contact DWS06 Plus and P0 AS Plus 3 were the only two tires to come to a stop in under 130 feet. From there, a group of 5 tires required between 130 and 140 feet, and the ePrimacy All-Season, Ventus S1 Evo 3, and Extreme Contact Sport 02 were between 144 and 148 feet. The XI Snow was way behind the rest of the group, taking an additional 63 feet to come to a stop compared to the best in the test, which serves as an excellent reminder of why you should take off your winter tires after the season passes. Around the skid pad, the summer tires redeemed themselves, with the Extreme Contact Sport 02 and Extra Sport tying for the top spot. The Ventus S1 Evo 3 was one spot back, tied with the Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. The E-Primacy All-Season was at the back of the all-season tires, though 0.79 Gs in the wet is still very acceptable. The XI Snow again brought up the rear overall at 0.67 Gs. Testing on the wet track represents how well each tire uses its objective traction and dynamic capability in combined maneuvers that simulate real-world emergency avoidance. Here, the Extra Sport led the way and was the only tire to post a sub-30-second lap.
The Kumho Extra Sport.
It seems a little happier in these slightly cooler temperatures.
It's good. You're straining your core to hold yourself in place. Like it is everything that we expect a performance summer tire in the wet to be.
From there was a tightly grouped pack of 4 with only 0.2 of a second separating them.
Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus, and this feels good. It is just sharp and strong. The lateral traction around the corners was the biggest aha moment for me. It has longitudinal, it has lateral, it has steering. It's very strong all the way around in the wet. Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02. This is actually the second day that we've tested this tire. First day, it was 45 degrees.
A bit chilly.
Which is not ideal for a summer tire compound. And yet, mid-60s, the compound on this tire still just doesn't feel
Still not quite
happy.
there.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's a
Edgy.
little chattery. It is edgy. The way it delivers its traction just doesn't feel smooth and refined. We are on the Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3. It's not a standout in the wet here, but it is not bad.
It's really nice to drive. Everything is delivered and balanced.
It gives you a little bit more steering response than I would say is normal for the input that I give it. The Kumho Extra Sport AS.
Everything feels balanced. Braking felt nice, which has been kind of one of my strong metrics I'm looking for in the UHPL season tires. Traction's good, steering's good, limit feel is good. Well done.
The Ventus S1 Evo 3 stood alone in the 30.8 second range, and another group of 4 rounded out the all-season tires.
We're in the Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 3. If you've seen the Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02 clip already, you know that it wasn't very happy, and so guess what? The Hankook is the same.
It's slip grip. It's also very snappy from the rear. Oversteer turns into oversteer the other direction quickly. It has that sharpness you would expect from a summer tire, but it just doesn't have the traction.
Falcon Azenis FK460 AS. I called it casually athletic. It didn't feel like a tire that you were going to go out there and set fastest time of day with.
Performance tire.
You're not going to set fastest time of day on it.
It drives well enough. It just comes a little short. It comes up a little short.
I agree.
Kumho Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV.
Absolutely, and that is the full proper product name.
You know, I could use a little more maybe front end authority on this thing, especially in kind of the coming into the real hard braking zones, lift off, turn in. Overall, for a EV focused touring tire in the wet, I mean, it's
getting the job done, right?
Doing great.
Michelin E-Primacy all season. It's fluid. Everything just kind of blends together seamlessly, and you just flow from spot to spot on the track. You're not setting lap times out there on your touring tires, but what's good is for them to be predictable and natural in an emergency situation.
All right, Michelin Cross Climate 2. I like the braking. It gets the job done and still has a little bit of reserve grip to kind of start the initial cornering. Just overall steering though, it's quick, which is good, but it doesn't complete
it can't always back it up, right?
Yeah.
It makes that promise, and it can't necessarily deliver to the level that it seems to promise it will.
The XI Snow averaged 35 seconds even per lap, demonstrating again that its talents lie in the ice and snow, not being pushed to the limits on a test track.
Everything is just happening at 3/4 speed. Everything is slower.
I mean, I agree. For a studless ice and snow winter tire being thrashed around a track, even in appropriate weather for it, because it was when we tested this, and it was in the morning. It was 37 degrees, I think, so it was cool. But just not real strong in the outright traction department.
Our dry testing took place in temperatures from the mid-60s to the mid-70s, and the summer tires really pulled ahead of the group in this environment, taking the top 3 spots in braking and around the skid pad. From there, a mere 3 feet separated the 60-0 braking distances of the all-season tires. The Azenas FK460AS even matched 2 of the summer tires in lateral traction. The conditions were way too warm for a winter tire, and the Excise Snow was expectedly behind the group in both metrics. Testing on the dry track represents how well each tire uses its objective traction and dynamic capability in combined maneuvers that simulate real-world emergency avoidance. And here the summer tires led again, with the Extreme Contact Sport 02 displaying a decisive lead over the rest of the group.
Continental Extreme Contact Sport 02, it is so pointy, it is so precise. You can carry so much more speed through turns.
The braking is capable enough to match its lateral traction. You can get to the limit quickly, and it's easy to keep it there. It's a different experience. Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 3.
Yes, nailed it.
It doesn't like the bigger inputs. It really wants a nice steady hand.
Right.
After we did that, it was pretty consistent, but yeah, it doesn't quite have the chops.
This one is excited and exuberant.
Yeah.
It's just not quite as capable as what its enthusiasm would require it to be.
Agreed, 100%. The Kumo Extra Sport. Everything just feels a little behind and kind of a little wonky.
The steering gives you a little bit of that overboost, a little bit of that assist that kind of doesn't mesh well with bigger steering inputs. It's more of a smaller, more precise driving type tire.
The Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV was surprisingly nice to drive on the track for an EV-focused touring tire, and it impressed with a 29.39 second average lap.
It's pointy. It is good at doing this. I mean, not like performance tire good, but it doesn't feel like you're torturing the poor thing, you know?
Yep, it's on the higher end for touring tires out here in the dry.
And one of the things that I like about this tire is there's a little bit of movement, but it feels natural. It feels like it's just part of the driving experience. It's got these really gentle limits where, you know, some tires it's like, oh man, I'm starting to get a little bit of rotation. I should correct it because I just want to make forward progress. Whereas with this one, it's like, no, we're just gonna do it. It's nice.
0.4 of a second separated the rest of the all-season tires, and the Excise Snow rounded out the test. The Falken Azenas FK460AS.
You can tell it's athletic. It's just let down just a touch by the outright traction. Just doesn't quite deliver that last little bit. It's a nice driver. It's just not as ultra high performance as some of the competition in this space. Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3. The steering gives me a little bit more than what I asked for.
So it took a bit to calibrate to it. That's not to say it's bad, but it just didn't feel, I didn't think it felt as intuitive or polished as the other UHPL season tires did.
I agree with that completely, absolutely.
Yeah. This is the Michelin E-Primacy all season. The steering feels a hair less sharp than the Cross Climate 2.
Right.
But that's maybe a good thing. It tends to communicate its limits a little bit better.
It really does, and it just feels super graceful is the word that I use to describe it. I will say, if you really, really, really tried to push it though, you'll just get over its limits and it's going to be a little bit ragged, but something like that.
Found it.
Found the limits.
All right, Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus.
Yep.
It feels more under you, as someone next to me says a lot.
I think that something that we both said and agreed to is it feels like a professional. Like it is just all business. Kumo Extra Sport AS. It's good.
It is. It's really nice.
I know. Bravo on this one. It's more kind of flowy. It felt good. It feels balanced and like a round performance. What do you think?
I like the way it handled. I think its overall hand and balance score was high, especially for a UHPL season. So yeah, good job.
Michelin Cross Climate 2. And it feels kind of, standard for a Grand Touring all-season tire, being asked to do something that it really wasn't designed to do, right? It'll glide around a little bit, it'll slide around a little bit, but in general, it doesn't feel super suited to this kind of thing. I think I wrote good, not great.
Yeah.
It is not designed to be thrown around on a huge, powerful car on a dry track.
it feels progressive and even. It's just level of traction is so much lower.
It's not as pointy as any of the other tires in the test.
Pointy is a good way to put it. It doesn't respond quickly to anything.
Yes, it doesn't. No.
Yeah.
If you brake too late or try to carry too much speed, it's just going to push through the turns. It's, again, this is just not what it was meant to do. So,
but it's fine.
Good enough.
It is.
Good enough for what it is.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
That was a lot of tires.
I told you it would be.
You did. But even so, we got a lot of really good data and we can draw some pretty solid conclusions.
Yeah.
The EV tires in this test, these like Gen 2 tires, they're actually getting really, really good.
Yeah.
But even so, the overall results still indicate what we've been saying all along. If you drive an EV, you don't have to have EV tires.
You don't, but depending on what's important to you, maybe that is the route that you should go.
Maybe.
But it's not a guarantee of performance. However, one metric where they did tend to excel in was efficiency on the road.
That's true, but even so, the spread across the entire test group wasn't that big. It didn't make that big of a difference. So we still strongly recommend that even if you drive an EV, you should choose your tires based on things like traction, handling, how they perform on the road, actual tire stuff, as opposed to really focusing in on efficiency.
Yep, still the recommendation.
If maximizing the potential range from your EV is high on your priority list, the Michelin E-Primacy All-Season and Kumho Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV are strong options. And good news for drivers switching to winter tires, the Michelin XI Snow also proved to be very efficient in cold temperatures. Interestingly, the 3 tires at the bottom of the chart are ultra-high performance all-season tires, which seems to be a trend we're seeing develop. It's easier to see when we add our consumption testing from last year, which allows us to compare the tires from this test with the larger group.
On-road ride quality and noise comfort can be another high priority for EV owners. And the standout in our on-road testing was the E-Primacy All-Season, with the Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV and a Zenus FK460 AS filling out the podium. And now we can look at how this group compares to last year's tests as well. If wet traction is high on your priority list, the Exta Sport, Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus, and P0 AS Plus 3 led this test. And they're in the top 5 overall for our combined 2024 and 2025 wet testing. For performance driving enthusiasts and anyone who wants to maximize emergency avoidance capability in dry conditions, the Extreme Contact Sport 02 earned the highest marks, followed by the Ventus S1 Evo 3 and Exta Sport. All 3 tires were at or near the top in the combined test results as well.
After the testing was finished and the dust settled, the Kumho Majesty 9 Solus TA91 EV rose to the top of the results. While it wasn't the overall leader in any one metric, it was consistent across the board, and that consistency allowed it to lead the way. The Michelin E-Primacy All-Season earned the highest score on the road and was also the most efficient tire in the test, and the Kumho Exta Sport was very strong in our wet and dry testing, which helped its overall standing. The XI Snow had the deck stacked against it from the beginning, but we fully expect it to turn things around in the winter portion of the test. And we can see that the leaders in this test hold their own in the overall standings as well, especially among the all-season options.
We hope you found this video interesting and informative to help you on your journey to find the right tire for your EV based on what, where, and how you drive.
Yeah, and later on in the year, we're going to take all the non-summer tires that were in this test, and we're going to test them on the ice and in the snow. So be on the lookout for that update in early 2026. Until then, though, as always, thanks for watching.